on my YouTube video was a whole video I did when I went to MegaCon. And if you don't know what MegaCon is, it's basically this giant convention, one of the biggest conventions in the nation. And it takes place in Florida where I live. So I went to that and that was really fun. I had a great time. It was all good things, all good things. And I just wanted to first say, like, I'm so happy to be here. I'm just so happy that I am surrounded by so many great people. And to have an experience like MegaCon, which for me, I don't know why I keep saying Megan Con. It's MegaCon. I don't know why I can't say it, but MegaCon is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, is just go to a major convention with others. And I've mentioned this in the video, but I went with a smaller group last time. It wasn't that big. It was basically the size of like one building, and everything in this convention was in the convention hall. And that was it. That was the last thing I went to, which was in San Jose. So it was kind of tiny. Orlando, much different. It was the exhibition hall and everything around that. There's like separate rooms for different events. There's like whole areas sectioned off just for photo ops, autographs. It was insane. I heard it was like 160,000 people. So definitely a step up from what I used to do. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty fun. It was a great time. I got a couple things signed. Like I got Alex Lee. I met him. I met Zach Aguilar. And they are some of the nicest people. I have to give props to the voice actors. They are so nice, and it actually motivates me to sort of get more into entertainment. And it's actually what I majored in school for, is to be a filmmaker and work with actors. And just seeing how nice they are and interacting with people, especially with someone who works as a customer service role, seeing them kind of doing the same and going through like the same struggles of you're constantly talking to people. And even though it may not be physically exhausting because you're standing in one place or you're sitting down, it is mentally, you feel mentally drained after, which is why I think a lot of people, like, as much as we do give a lot of shit to a lot of creators for saying streaming is harder than a 9 to 5, which I also agree. 9 to 5s are so much harder than streaming, because even if 9 to 5s are a little bit easier in terms of like you not talking to someone constantly, which a lot of them do, a lot of them are customer facing roles. So I don't get the argument, but also with streaming is if you make it big, you're at least being compensated for the hard work you put in. And so maybe your hard work is hanging out with friends. A lot of people don't have that luxury. They already have so much difficulty with the amount of pay they receive for their jobs, especially when it comes to these low paying jobs. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. I'm always going to side with people, especially when it comes to people working from the ground up, because that's where I am, you know? I don't do streaming because I want a job from streaming, as much as that would be fun right now. I'm more trying to be a little bit more realistic with sort of, I spent so much time streaming already, doing YouTube for so long. I just want to do it for fun now. And if it becomes big and I blow up as a streamer, yeah, absolutely. I'll maybe invest a little bit more and take it more like a part-time job. But currently I'm kind of taking a step back and just relaxing, you know? Because I want this to be more like a hobby, at least at this point in time. But yeah, like, I don't know. There's just so many things with streaming that I feel have a lot of luxury to them, especially with you almost becoming like somewhat of a mini celebrity. And you also see a lot of people taking advantage of their viewers when they make it big, whether it's crypto scams in general, promoting gambling sites. So it's like, even some of them know that, you know, being a celebrity, being well known has its perks, and it's to the dismay of other people. And I don't agree with that, you know? Again, I am the working man. I am someone who, for my job, I have to stand outside. for a good portion of it. I have, and I'm in Florida too. And for the last couple years in this job, I've been under the sun in 100-degree weather, sometimes over 100-degree weather, and the humidity. If you don't know anything about Florida, what is the biggest issue isn't the heat per se, it's also the humidity. So even if it's like 80 or high 80s, it's still very hot. And the worst time, and any Floridian can tell you this, the worst time to be in Florida is when it rains for like 10 minutes and then it goes away. And now you're drenched in just water, of course, but also it's getting humid again. So you get very sticky. It's not a very pleasant feeling. So I sympathize with anyone who works outside. Construction, especially construction workers. Oh my gosh. They're the real troopers in Florida. Anyone who works outside, does manual labor. I am not, I won't compare myself to a construction worker because I feel like at least during parts of my job, I don't have to do all the physical labor that construction workers do to the same effect. And I also do go inside for part of my job sometimes. But yeah, I do respect a lot of construction workers, and working outside and working in customer service related roles actually makes you very humble. And that's why I recommend everyone goes through it. Like, I've heard something where it's like, if you look at leadership too, those who, and this is for the most part, on average, for the most part, those who work their way up from, being that customer facing role to, a leadership, whether it's a manager or president or vice president, more often than not, they're going to be a little bit more understanding about the plight of, the common man, as opposed to someone who, just maybe had a connection already and had a little bit of nepotism. Not, and here's the thing. I'm also, I know a lot of people are going to be very harsh and critical of people who use their connections to gain manager positions, to skip their way up their ladder. I know that for sure. That exists out there. However, I'm not going to blame someone for using what they have, their resources, to gain that position. What I will fault them for is if they aren't humble about it, if they use it and mismanage it, and we lead to a lot of mistakes on the job that hurt other people or make the job harder for a lot of people on the ground, then I'll be critical of them. But if you want to use your connections to your advantage, I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, I feel like if anyone was in their place, they'd do the same, Personally, for me, I kind of like working my way up, and as much as I'd love to be like straight up, like going straight to being the president of a company or president of a production company, recognized by the DGA because I'm a filmmaker, right? That is not something that I want to immediately jump to, especially when I need to learn a lot of things like how to work on a film set, how to gain experience. Like I feel like there should be a lot more things earned to get to that point than just receiving it. Maybe if it's administrative, then I'll take up that position. But if it's something that requires a lot of expertise and reliance on using, like, having to delegate work onto others, I don't feel comfortable doing that. So it is what it is. And like, I mean, I went to, here, we'll bring back MegaCon for instance right now. So MegaCon, I went back to MegaCon, or I went to MegaCon and I went back 3 times because it was a 4-day event, and it was mismanaged. And you could tell a lot of the calls being made were from their leadership. I think the con organizers did not take into account a lot of the problems that were taking place, and they were a little bit more profit driven. And because they didn't have that desire to think about the consequences of their decision making, led to a lot of problems for not only the staff but con goers as well. So that is an example of something that I feel, that is something that's wrong. I feel like if we let those managers, they made a mistake, have them work a con just one day. Just like a normal grunt employee. They're working at the bottom just one day just to see how it's like. And what they learn, they should take back up to the top to then inform those decisions. Like they should be on the ground or maybe just walking through the convention, right? Just seeing what it's like, what crowds are like, what vendors are like, what the celebrities are like, what they need, right? I feel like if they do that instead of like looking down and being in these meetings, I feel like a lot of these problems could have been avoided. So that's just MegaCon's just an example of mismanagement. I feel like there's a lot of jobs out there. Like I mean, just think of like the tech CEOs and stuff. I will be critical of the tech CEOs with their mismanagement and they're like feigning ignorance when problems come up on their platforms. Like, I don't want to get into it, but I mean, you know the Facebook thing, which I'm happy about, which Zuckerberg lost and, you know, the victims were awarded money. I 100% celebrate that. I don't think tech CEOs should be revered as gods. I don't think they should be immune to consequences. I feel like they should be held accountable for a lot of things on their platforms, especially with the amount of money coming in, you know? You shouldn't be given leeway because you have a certain amount of wealth, and you shouldn't be free from consequence. I feel like that is something that, you know, is very much, I feel like it's the One Piece. I'm looking at looking at the webcam right here, and yeah, you know, the One Piece pirates, you know, like celestial dragons, perfect example of, I feel like some CEOs and management lately in some companies where it's just like, you know, they want to be revered. They want to go to the fancy dinners and talk the fancy talk and talk about how they care about people and how we're all a family, but it's not backed up by their actions. Like the sayings is fine, right? We should be saying this. We should be communicating that we want to treat everyone as equals and be considerate of others. But I feel like where the disconnect is when it's all for show and no action, you know? Like how I think one of the organizers for MegaCon was touting how it brought all this business to Florida and how it was a good thing because a lot of people came into Orlando and local businesses were, you know, supported. That should be something that I think should be talked about a lot. Is like, yeah, that's a good thing, but what else can you do to help promote local businesses or support people in your artist alley? Because there were a lot of issues with artist alley. There were a lot of issues with the guests you were bringing in, like the celebrities. And I feel bad for the Lord of the Rings people because they oversold the tickets, and there's just so much like just miscommunication and delays going on. And it wasn't the celebrities' fault. It was just the management's decision to overbook them and make them do way too much in such a short amount of time that they're there. Which is unfortunate because apparently it's a trend. It happened last year too. So, I mean, I still enjoyed MegaCon. I think I mentioned this before. I was glazing, and rightfully so, giving the flowers to the staff over by the voice actors, at least the ones I wanted to see, because they were very communicative. They were very nice. Even the Lord of the Rings panel, when we were doing a photo op with Orlando Bloom, they were like very honest, like, hey, there's a delay. It's out of our control. They're just letting me know this. I want to let everyone know if you have something else going on right now, please take care of that and then come back. We won't kick you out. There's just been a delay, you know? And, you know, as someone who has been on the side of things going wrong and you have to tell people no, especially when it's customer service related, I sympathize with them. But the fact that they were so nice, they're very understanding, and they were trying to help us out the best way they can. You got to give service workers their flowers. That's all I'm saying. Give them their flowers because, my goodness, I feel like kindness goes a long way, and especially working in customer service, seeing some of my coworkers and even myself too. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm innocent or not a part of dealing with this, but just like having tough days and having one bad day where things go wrong, you hear some bad news, your morale is down, maybe you have like a bad customer interaction. I don't know. I just feel like when we're dealing with something like that, we should always give grace to customer service workers, especially if you see them stressed, especially if you see them overworked. Like, and I'm talking everyone, like whether it's Marshalls or Macy's or TJ Maxx, like any clothing line group, or it's something like Starbucks or McDonald's, right? Even though they're working minimum wage jobs, maybe some of them aren't carrying the best work ethic because it's a minimum wage job. I still feel like we shouldn't be so angry when they're out of things, out of their control. Like, oh, sorry, we're out of this sauce. So sorry, we're out of this toy. We're sold out. Oh, so sorry. I cannot process this. I can't offer. It's just like there's so many things that is out of their control, especially with any type of job. And just by giving them some grace and being nice to them, granted, if they're rude to you, then it's like I understand where you can be a little bit frustrated. But if you tell they're just tired and you maybe giving them an attitude is making them not as great, just don't be surprised. That's all I'm saying. Because empathy goes a long way. And I think everyone, I've seen this touted a lot where everyone talks about empathy and being in their shoes. And that's why I think everyone should at least work a customer service related job or work outside at some point, whether it's not even just a job, but like volunteer job, where you're outside helping out in the sun, whether you see someone on the corner, the sign spinners on the corner that like advertises a business, some of them go crazy. But just imagine being outside in like the hot Florida sun, especially when, if you're like just walking around outside, you're off the clock, right? And you're sweating and you're trying to hustle into the nearest store or restaurant because it's so hot outside. Imagine someone who has to stay out there for hours and work under the sun, just simply like telling them like, oh, you look weird, or laughing at them, I don't think that's very productive in a society. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just kind of like to tout something being more positive. Like sending a positive message out there, especially because of work. And look, there are some things that are out of our control, especially when it comes to like how's a good way of saying it? If your job requires you to be outside and you have to work outside and you're complaining that you have to work outside, then that's one thing. I know it's frustrating, but like that's the job you applied for, so you have to do it. But also, if someone's outside and they're trying their best and they're struggling, we shouldn't be making their jobs harder. At least that's what I think. But yeah, I mean, that's my whole talk on like jobs and customer service and just being nice to people. And I don't know. Maybe because I'm in this weird place right now with my job where I've almost become an advocate for the working man. And I like to joke with my friend. So my friend is like an uber socialist. I don't get into politics too much. I'll maybe mention it. Like one thing I'll get very, very political over, I think I've mentioned this before, is literally public transit, transnational public transit. Kind of like South Korea, kind of like Japan, where we have a single line that could take you from Orlando to LA in like a bullet train in a couple hours, or from LA all the way to Washington, the state of Washington. Like something like that, I go crazy over it because I'm like, that would be so cool if we could like take a train or a bus or something across in like such a short amount of time. Because what that would mean too is people could live farther away from their jobs and it'd make commute easier. And that's also why I am very much against what happened in the big in the big history. I forgot when it was, but there was this big push for automation, and there was this like scummy tactics behind the scene to make sure that trains became like non-existent, and they were pushing more cars so they could sell more cars. Like, come on. That's why we have freeways in the US, capitalism. That is the one thing I will like. I think there's pros and cons for everything, but the biggest con for capitalism is the cars and how much emissions we make with those cars. And not if you think, oh well, we're gonna get ECVs, electric vehicles, right? Unfortunately, the one downside with electric vehicles is in order to generate the electricity, you're almost burning just as much oil and coal to generate that electricity. So it's like a pro and con. It's like, yeah, you're not emitting it, but to generate the energy, you're also kind of polluting. It may be a little bit better, but it's not like a clean solution as they advertise it to be, you know? Especially those batteries. And there's some unreliable features with electric cars too. That's why my thing is like you could do a gas part or an electric bullet train, but do it so we can save on like cars. You know, no one has to buy a car now. You can, and it's safer for people too, I feel like. If people want to go clubbing and drink, I'm young, I'm in my 20s, I've done that before. Yes, we have Uber, that's great. But imagine going to like, you know, like a metro and just going into the city and then taking the metro back. The one thing I love about my home, where I used to live, which was San Francisco area. San Francisco I love because they actually have a pretty decent transit system. And you could go clubbing, you can go bar hopping, and all you need to do is just take advantage of the buses, take advantage of what we call BART, which is basically like our version of the subway, like New York subway. But yeah, just something like that would be really cool. But yeah, like I don't know. I'm kind of weird with this thing, but my point is that my friend, he's very much a socialist, much more than me, but at least outspoken. And the one thing I told him after getting my job and seeing not only other people working and getting into the work, becoming part of the working class, you know, as someone in his mid 20s, or exactly mid 20, because I'm 25 now, is like, dude, you are so right. Like, there are so many things that I would love to change. Like, am I a big fan of raising the minimum wage? I am not going to say yes to that. It's a little bit more complicated, in my opinion. For some situations, yes, but not across the board. I feel like my thing for what I would love to strive for, especially in the capitalistic world that we live in, is better benefits for people and also like faster ways to grow within a company. I feel like vertical movement isn't really a thing for some companies. It's more horizontal movement where you'll get another job that gets like paid basically the same, but you just change your tasks. That's what you do. I would love to see more vertical mobilization, because the things I've been seeing on job postings and such all across my field, which is film and television, is like 5 years experience in this work in a production company. And it's like, okay, where do I get entry level experience? And it's like, there's no hiring. You have to talk to people. You have to know people. And it's a lot of volunteer work. So that's kind of the unfortunate part in this line where it's like, that's why a lot of people end up working fast food. A lot of people, at least starting off, they have to work customer service related roles because it is so hard right now. And I'm like, dude, I agree with you as someone who has a job. There are, without going into it, there are also things I see where I'm like, I wish this could be better. I wish we could get better benefits. I wish we could get better pay, for sure. But this is just the world we live in. So I'm going to do my best to advocate where I can, especially because I actually signed up for a role. It's kind of like a union role where I work, where I am advocating for that. And I've become very, very, very passionate about it. I'm like, dude, you made me a socialist. This is my socialist friend I'm talking about. But I'm like, you're right. There are some, like, I used to be a little bit more pro-capitalist, just because of, well, here's the weird thing. In high school and college, I saw classes as more like a job, right? You go to class, you do the work, you get the grade, and you go home, right? That's what I felt jobs were supposed to be. You did everything right, and you would be rewarded for it, right? When you get to a job, you could do everything right and nothing changes. You have to be proactive. And even if you do everything right and you strive to work your hardest, sometimes you're not recognized. And this isn't just me talking. I'm talking about other people that I feel should deserve recognition that don't receive recognition. So I told my friend, I'm like, you were so right. Like I'll be the first one in front of you. Like I won't even go full socialist. I'll go full communist, you know. All a joke, by the way. But I feel like there are certain points of my job where I feel like going to the extremes of being like, you know, the working class deserves everything. Rise up. You know, Decepticons, rise up. You know, that level of extremism. But I also take a step back. I'm like, wait, that's a little too far. But I do want better benefits for everyone. That's my stance on it. Yeah. Politics chat. We love to talk about politics. In related news, let's talk about the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Not just any Super Mario Bros. Movie, the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I went to see it with a couple friends actually last night, or I guess earlier today, because it was a midnight premiere. And I gotta say, it was kind of crazy seeing the amount of people that showed up to watch this movie. Some people showed up dressed as Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi. And I gotta say, same thing with the Sonic movies for me when I went to see it on opening day. You have to go see these movies with like a passionate crowd. You know, someone who is totally invested in the Mario games or the like Nintendo games, or for the Sonic games, like just someone who knows about like Shadow and his backstory with Maria. Because if you go with people who know about it, it makes the experience so much better. And that's what happened here was the crowd was so into the movie. They were like, it was funny. Sometimes they were cheering for things. I'm like, that's kind of silly. These grown men are cheering for this moment in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And then I realized, wait, I'm the same exact man who is sitting in the theater also cheering for these things. What am I talking about? I am no different. I am equally as guilty as these other men. I am a man-child too. What am I saying? I am just as bad as them, you know? Like, if there's like a Nintendo event, guarantee you, when there's like maybe like a couple children there to be like, oh, let's play Mario, the hordes and hordes of early 20s to late 30s men that are there in attendance as well to celebrate, you know, the release of a Mario game or the next Mario or the next Nintendo game, whether it's Pokemon 2. I am in that crowd too. So I don't know why I have this elitism sometimes where I'm like, nerd. And I'm like, wait, I'm the same person. I literally watch anime. I am like the degenerate consumer who likes to buy things. Like I have a bunch of anime figures behind me. Like, what am I talking about? I don't know. I don't know where I went on a tangent there, but yeah, no, it was a great time. I honestly think the Mario movie got a lot of shit thrown at it for no reason. There is no reason to hate the Mario movie. Like, I went into it expecting exactly what I thought from the first one, where it wasn't about a certain Mario game, but it was about Mario games and Mario references and a love letter to Nintendo fans. And people were thrashing this movie. I knew that beforehand going in. People were thrashing it. They're like, this is one of the worst movies ever made. What are you talking about? The story's all over the place. You know, all it was just like stupid children's entertainment. And I'm like, look, I'm a grown man. This is my entertainment too, first and foremost. But also, you guys are being way too harsh on a Mario movie. Like, are you expecting some Godfather cinematic experience from these two plumbers who gain powers from this weirdly shaped flower that turns into not only changes their outfits into a different outfit, but also gives them abilities of ice and fire and flying? Like, there's so many things in these games that don't make sense. But since it's Mario, it's fun. It's the coolness factor. Like, who gives a shit? This is a reference to the game. You know, that's how I felt through a lot of the movie. Was like, oh yeah, I can see why they didn't understand this or thought it was weird. But they're lame. They don't play the Mario games. They don't understand what makes this awesome for fans. And this is where I think Scorsese and all these film critics, when they talk about Marvel movies or like these now Nintendo movies, they're like, oh, ho, 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 ho. You know, I'm gonna push up my glasses here. Ooh. I don't know why I did that. But they're like, ho, ho, ho. Clearly there's no cinematic message in this film. There's no thematic tie into what makes a plumber a Super Mario, you know? And not just any Super Mario, a Super Mario brother. It's like, come on, guys. Come on. This is not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is to entertain the fans and to give fans what they want, is to see some cool visuals, some cool nods to the game, and some familiar faces of the video game characters that they grew up playing, you know? Especially a Super Mario Galaxy inspired movie, which I will say it is not a direct reference and direct storyline from the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and that may disappoint people. Without getting into spoilers, you are going to be disappointed if you expect a one-for-one from the game. But you should have also seen this coming from the first movie, which was very loosely inspired from Mario games and Mario storylines. The same is present here. It's very much an original story. And I still had a great time with it. Like, it was very much a, look at this. Look at how much passion we put into every single reference in this movie. And look how much fun we're having doing this. And so many people were like, bah humbugging it. And I'm like, guys, it's not that bad. Like, I would argue if you would give this, like, say you don't know anything about the Mario games. Yeah, I can understand you not liking it. But if you are a fan of the games and you're still being snobby about it, then what? Then what, right? I don't know. It's just like kind of like, oh, you know, why is there so much singing in this movie? And it's a freaking musical, you know? It's like you go into these movies that are meant for fandom, and a lot of it may not make sense, but it's more for rewarding. And this is where I think there's a little discrepancy when it comes to film criticism, where it's like, there should be an understanding, like, yes, this is not a cinematic masterpiece. It's no 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 movie. But when you consider it more as like a fanfare, something that to turn on, like a big event, like you're going on an amusement park, whether it's, you know, a thrill ride or a 3D experience like they have at Universal, right? The Spider-Man experience or the Transformers 4D, you know, just something like that, right? It's not meant to be a cinematic experience where you're supposed to see it's meant to just have fun with it. And could there be things that could have made it better? For sure. But to just trash this movie for like a lot of things that didn't make sense, but would make sense for a lot of the game fans, then it's like, okay, you're expecting an apple to be an orange. What are we doing here? You know? I get very passionate about this. Wow, that's crazy. Because I feel the same way with the Sonic movies. Like, I also feel like the Sonic movies were received a little bit better because they played less on, let's just throw things that fans would want and appease just fans. And they went, let's appease the fans, but also bring in a new audience, you know? And if you don't understand Sonic or its lore, we can at least hold your hand while explaining the crazier aspects to you by starting off something small like the first movie, then ramping up all the references in the next two movies. And I think that's why maybe they're, you know, a little bit more cherished than, say, the Mario movies, which I gotta say, if I had to pick between, you know, Mario and Sonic, the big rivalry at the Olympic Games, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I prefer the Sonic movies. I think they were much better in terms of like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing story. However, Mario is not bad by comparison. It's just two different ways to bring about fandom and bring about their movies in two separate ways. One is live action, one is animated, you know? And a lot of people will say, maybe also the Sonic movies did such a great job because they were trying their best to like do homages to the games and to even like the spin-offs like Shadow the Hedgehog, right, in Sonic 3. And even though it wasn't like a one-for-one, like the gun that Shadow uses in the movie is very different from the gun he uses in the game. or the way Gun as an organization is formed in the game is a little bit different from the way they did it in, the movie. I thought it was still fine, I still had a great time because, again, it was like they took aspects that worked and were trying to stay accurate to, but other times they were very loose with it. And I felt like the same thing was done with the Mario movie, which was there was a lot of things that they took like verbatim from the game, but then there was also some that they were a little bit more inspired by, like the space station. I'm gonna be honest, I felt so nostalgic seeing the space station in the movie. And this isn't a spoiler. This is in the trailers where you see Rosalina in the space station. Like, that was like, I grew up in Super Mario Galaxy. I grew up building that space station one by one, unlocking each area, and how awesome it was to feel accomplished when you completely 100%ed the space station, But like, yeah, I don't know. There's just, I don't know. If you expect a Super Mario Galaxy adaptation, you're not going to get it. It's more of a Super Mario Brothers adaptation of what makes the games great. And they pull it from every single game and a little bit from Super Mario Galaxy, which I will give them criticism of. I mean, it's for marketing purposes. They got to go bigger, right, for the second. But the problem is they also marketed it as this is a Super Mario Galaxy movie, even though they pulled from Super Mario Bros. 2. They pulled from, the Mario Odyssey a lot. And I think that's why a lot of people were like, what's going on here? I don't recognize this. What's happening here? So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was like a solid, as a fan, solid 8.5. If you're not a fan, it's a solid 6.5. I don't think it's like a 4, a 3, a 1, like some people are saying. But it's like, I still think it's an enjoyable time. And people are like, well, you adults are going to be bored by this too. I'm like, some of the action scenes and how some of the visuals, I think, could have kept some of the adults' attention. I don't think every adult's going to be bored by this. Maybe if you're a little bit more cynical or prefer something a little bit more serious to your movies and you're stuck with the family, then yeah, you're not going to like it. But if you're just like a fan of kids movies and just seeing some cool action set pieces, then yeah, you're going to be fine in this movie for sure. But yeah, that's like my Super Mario Bros. Kind of rant, kind of glaze, a little bit of both, I guess. I liked it a lot more than a lot of people. That's what I'll say. And I went with someone who also was a big fan of Mario Bros. And I was talking to her and she was like, yeah, I can see why people hated it. I can also see why people like it. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I feel like that's like a even benchmark, But yeah. Moving on from Super Mario Bros. I do want to talk about one thing, and it's something that's been on my mind a little bit for what I want to do with streaming. So they just did this big update for Genshin Impact. They did this big live stream where apparently, and this is a little bit of what I saw. I didn't want to spoil myself before the update drops. There's a big expansion coming to Mondstadt apparently. And they're talking about how Snezhnaya, the last nation we have to explore out of the 7 nations, is going to be the next big update. And that's going to happen in a couple months. And I'm already not ready for it. I'm not ready for this big update. Because, yeah, it's like, whoa, it's coming. It's coming, But what I will say is, Genshin Impact has been one of my favorite games. I tried playing Wuthering Waves because people are like, Wuthering Waves is so much better. It's so much better than Genshin. Play Wuthering Waves instead of Genshin Impact because, some of the none of the characters are lollies. It's pretty much like all MILFs and stuff, which again, it's up my alley. And I do love Wuthering Waves for a lot I think a lot of its points that it has over Genshin Impact, which is the combat I do prefer in Wuthering Waves. I do prefer the character designs in Wuthering Waves, especially the MILF characters. Holy shit. I do like the story. And like I like how it's more blended together as opposed to like each nation has its own storylines and it's like each of it separate. Even though there's a lot of connective tissue in between, I do appreciate that about Wuwa. I do like the antagonists in Woo-Wah, and how they're like a menacing threat versus Genshin Impact is more. I will say there's less of a face and they're less terrifying compared to Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves is kind of like horror. And then Genshin Impact is kind of toned down a little bit. But I still prefer Genshin Impact. And this may be a hot take, but I feel like Genshin Impact, the thing that it has over Wuthering Waves, is the amount of story Genshin Impact has. Genshin Impact has coming up on, if you count, I guess, Nodcry is the 7th quote unquote nation or part of Snezhnaya. They're at 7 nations. They've had a lot more time to develop. Each nation feels very individualistic. And Fontaine was just, I still think Fontaine's one of the best things they did. Fontaine, the music, the story, the characters, it was like a feast. And then you had, of course, Natlan, which wasn't as great, but I still enjoy Genshin Impact for what it at least tries to do. And I love the music. I love how it always does an event. How they actually, for my birthday, they did this thing where it's like they had these voice lines for each of the characters wishing me a happy birthday. I'm like, this is crazy. That these characters are wishing me a happy birthday, but it's awesome. And Wuthering Waves did it too. Wuthering Waves did that too. I'm not going to say that they didn't. But the one thing I think that I prefer about Genshin Impact is really the fandom. The fandom, and maybe it's because there's more time that Genshin Impact has been out, but the fandom goes crazy. And maybe it's because it's a Hoyoverse game, and of course you have Honkai Star Rail, which I did play for a little bit. I stopped because it got too much storage on my phone. But yeah, I do love the fandom of Genshin Impact. Like just going, like I'll mention MegaCon again. I went to MegaCon. I saw so many cosplayers as Genshin Impact characters. I think I saw Venti a lot. But Erica Harlaker was there and she voices Venti, who I saw too. She was really nice. I saw Zach Aguilar, who voiced Aether. I saw a couple of people dressed as Aether. I saw a lot of people dressed as Lisa. I saw people dressed as Kaya. I actually saw a lot of people dressed as Alhaitham and Sino. I saw Sino too, which was crazy. But just the fandom, I don't know. Maybe it's where I am. Maybe it's what I'm seeing. But just the fandom in Genshin Impact is just, I feel like so much bigger than Woo-Wah right now. And maybe if Woo-Wah has more time to come out, then we can talk about it. But just seeing like, oh my gosh, guys, look at this. What's the lore? Like the amount of lore in Genshin Impact and how it's not as straightforward and you kind of have to pay attention. I do appreciate that about the game. Where people are like, well, I don't know what anything, I don't understand anything that's going on, but they don't complete the side missions, or if they do, they like skip over everything. They're like, we need a skip button for this, and then they go, what's happening? What's with this lore? You know, like I still think the story quest, some of the best moments in the game come from the story quests. I thought, everything with like Cloran's, who I main a lot, Clorand from Fontaine. Again, Fontaine's kind of goated. Clorand had a whole D&D like inspired story quest, which was like so freaking cool, man. Like you go in and you're basically playing Dungeons and Dragons in Genshin Impact. It's pretty cool. And then you also have like I did like how they brought in a lot of like anything with Nodcry. I think Fontaine was great. Natlan was kind of a step down, but it was still good. But oh my gosh, Nodcry, they brought it back up again. Like everything with Columbina, you know, the Traveler, Aether and his sister, finding out what happened to the ship, you know, the big fight, like 2 big boss fights, which shouldn't have worked for Nodcry, but it did. Like, I will say it was slow at the start, for sure. I thought the beginning was good. Near the middle, it got slow. Then it picked up in the middle, got pretty good again. and it got really good at the end with the doctor and just the showdown. And like you bring in the art, like I actually really, really love how, aside from the Abyss, there isn't really a bad guy in Genshin Impact. There are antagonists. There are people you fight, like, you know, the Harbingers. The Fatui Harbingers are definitely antagonistic. But now they're kind of good. They kind of sided with you. And you sided with the, you know, Arlecchino. You sided with, you know, Columbina, Child, and what's her face? I'm blanking on her name. It's the one with the giant robot. But you side with them to fight the doctor, and I'm like, this is cool, you know? Or just like the whole story quest with what's his face? Grandmaster Varka and his homecoming to the first map of Mondstadt. Like Mondstadt actually also cooks very well with its story quests and its events. Like it's kind of goated. But just everything with that was just fantastic. So gotta give them props there. I love I don't know. I just love Genshin Impact. And that's why I play it a lot. That's why I do a lot of dailies still. And I'm trying to do different combinations like Dea, like just trying different combinations and playing with it. And I'm actually learning how to actually use the mechanics and using artifacts the right way. Because apparently I was just like, oh, if I do the artifact set that they need, right, that's preferred, I'll instantly win. I wasn't looking at substats. I'm like, wait, that's a thing? You're supposed to look at substats? I was just looking at talents. So, yeah, no, Genshin Impact still has a place in my heart. And also, my dream, and maybe it's because they're introducing a lot more MILF characters into Genshin Impact that I'm like, it's right up my alley. MILF. Oh, you know? Like Alice. Alice is one of the best things they did for the game. Because I'm like, God damn, she's so hot. Alice is so hot, dude. You have Nefer too. Oh, like they were literally cooking. You had Lisa having a lot more screen time, especially with the Mondstadt related story quest. I got Nefer, and then you had Alice, and then maybe you have, you know, maybe Shneznaya's Archon could be another MILF. Like, my goal in Genshin Impact is one, to build a team around Dea, because Dea is like this melee type pyro character. I'm like, it'd be so cool because her ult is her like charging it up. But if I could have like these moving elements around her to make this like visually stunning, while I also deal like a ton of damage, that'd be pretty cool as well, you know? And I think I'm getting there. But yeah, I want to build like some fun teams like that in Genshin Impact. And you can do that. You can save. And you can do F2P pretty well, free to play. You just have to be smart about it and save Primogems like I've been doing. Like I'm saving up for maybe another MILF character if Alice becomes playable eventually. Or if, you know, the big Shneznaya Archon, the big bad of the Fatui Harbingers. I want to see if she gets any, like if you're able to unlock her at any point. That'd be pretty sick. But yeah, like, I don't know. There's just a lot. There's a lot that I like. And, and I'm also building a MILF team. So I'm like, if Alice becomes playable, I'm going to do like Lisa, who they're also buffing the Mondstadt characters. They announced they're buffing the Mondstadt characters. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I want Lisa because Lisa's not that rated that great. And I want to play Lisa. So I'm like, if you buff Lisa, oh my God, dude. Oh my God. It's be great. Yeah, just buff Lisa. Another one would be like just a stack team, like maybe Nefer, Lisa. If you get Alice playable, that'd be sick. And then maybe another MILF character. I don't know, just something cool like that, you know? I don't know. Just I have to think. I was thinking about what's her face? She was like the new Geo character that they introduced for Leeway. She's like the moon goddess. I'm blanking on her name, but someone in chat will say it. But I also wanted to play her. Or I wanted to get her. But I wanted to save up Primos, dude. And I didn't have enough. I felt like I wasn't gonna get it if I tried rolling for it because it's a 50-50. I didn't want to use my primo gems to lose the 50-50, you know? Especially on like a character that's like a little obscure, you know? But anyways, since we're on the topic of Genshin Impact and such, I kind of want to jump into some Genshin Impact. So if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna switch gears. So just give me a second. I'm booting up Genshin Impact. I'm being blinded by the light. The intro screen, dude. The intro screen. You should be able to hear it now. Let's go to jump to normal stream. There we go. There we go. We're back. We're back, guys. We're back. Ugh. I also have my gamer subs here, so I'm ready to go. Also, as you can see, I changed the placement of my camera a little bit. I kind of like this way, just so you can see my mic a little bit better. Instead of like seeing this, and I'm just like, wow, I'm not like eating my microphone. Oh yeah, I also had the McDonald's K-pop Demon Hunters collab meal. I really enjoyed it. I'm also a big defender of the BTS meal. Sorry, this is coming out of nowhere while we were playing Genshin Impact. But my goodness, people are not gonna like the demon sauce. I didn't mind the demon sauce, and I actually really like the hunter sauce. But the ramyeon shaker fries, McShaker fries, oh, those were actually really good. And of course, it's just nuggets. This is a 10-piece nuggets meal. But yeah, if you want, I personally got it also because they have these collectible cards that they advertise. So I'm like, yes, absolutely, I have to. You know what I mean? All right, weekly progress. I'm gonna try and get Daya, just like I was saying before. How can I help you? Order for delivery. Yes. All right, we're gonna do my dailies real quick. Yeah, but I don't know. People are gonna trash on the McDonald's collabs. McDonald's food isn't that great to a lot of people, but I'm like, hey, if it supports something I like the BTS meal, which people clowned on, I'm like, dude, the BTS meal was fire. I don't know what you're talking about. Having that special sauce, it's great, man. There we go. I immediately found this pallet. Thank you. Give me my money so I can get my dailies done. But yeah, oh yeah, BTS is coming back. BTS, I love BTS, and seeing how crowded the streets were in Korea, I'm like, you know what? This is to be expected. It's BTS's comeback after military service, so kind of they gotta clutch the dub, you know. Yeah, BTS for the win, guys. BTS. I am a big fan of K-pop, and if you don't like K-pop, then you're not cool in my book. Yeah, I also, it's funny, I kind of also want to make plans to go back to South Korea with friends, but I'm gonna give it like a year to recover. My next travel plans are actually, I really want to go to Japan next year. So we'll see how that turns out. If I'm gonna make a video on it, we'll see. Live streaming in Japan sounds like a bad idea, but video maybe a little bit better, because you can control where you film and such. Yeah, have you guys been hearing what's been happening in Japan, where it's getting really bad with tourism and they're really cracking down on it? Which, again, I kind of don't blame them, but I also am like, look, you guys invited all this tourism. And it's a good thing, but you also have to understand it's a double-edged sword. And I'm not advocating for people who go over there and harass, you know, the poor Japanese people, because that's awful. Like, I'm not saying that, but like I think Japan's going through this weird thing right now where they're realizing like they bit off more than they could chew with tourism, just because of how much tourism is coming in. I think they are one of the most traveled to places in the world right now, I think. Don't quote me on that, but at least up there, top 5 for sure. So I do feel for them, because everyone's like, ooh, Japanese anime, and oh, I'm gonna go over there and get a Japanese girlfriend. You know, it's like, guys, they're people too. Can we pretend like anime is not real for a second and just like realize that they're actual just people who work hard, almost too hard over there? Because oh my gosh, if we're talking about how the US, like earlier, I was talking about how the US is a capitalistic society, that's really bad. Japan, I feel like, is a whole nother like demon. Like the fact that they have these things called black companies, which lock you into legitimately what they call slave contracts. It's just so terrible. They normalize like having sleeping bags at their workplaces so they could sleep to get more of their jobs done. Like, it's bad, dude. Like, it is awful. All right, I think I should be good. Let's go back to claim my dailies. But yeah, man, like, I still am very much a big supporter of, like, okay, how do I phrase this? I am a big advocate for study abroad. I am a big advocate for traveling, especially to other countries. But I'm also an advocate for the people living in these countries that you are a respectful visitor, a respectful tourist. You are going into someone's house. If you are going to spit on them in their own house, you should be kicked out of their house. That's my opinion. Everyone deserves respect. You deserve respect for traveling over there, and they deserve respect. It's a two-way street, you know? And like, it's such a weird thing for me because it's like, you look at like Japan and hear the stories of like these horrible tours, some that go viral too. And then you hear what like some horrible experiences some tourists have with like these scammers in these other countries. It's like, guys, let's all shake hands. Let's have good people unite and bad people recoil, you know, in fear of persecution of the law, you know? That's my stance on like tourism, especially in the US too. Like, we give the Japanese like, oh, they weren't friendly to us. They were mean to us. They were short with us. And it's like, well, how do we react to people who don't speak English in this country? Especially when, you know, they need help explaining something when you're working and you are like, roll your eyes because they don't understand English, you know? Because they're in America. They should understand English, which that's a whole nother can of worms, you know? I need to save up more hero resin, but I don't know. I'm advocate for things, and I take these things very seriously, guys, very seriously. Okay, how much for a breastplate? I'm just gonna get pause. That's a crazy thing to say. How much for a breastplate? I'm talking about resources here. We're playing Genshin Impact. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh, we got the 2-time bonus going on. Got the 2-time bonus. Okay, I'm just double checking my health. Luckily for Pyro, it's gonna be pretty easy because I got a pretty stacked team here. Let's do this. We're gonna throw in Toma. Toma, you can come in. I'm bringing you in. Let's do Arlecchino because you're hot.
No need
Milf.
to fret. I shall
Benny because he's awesome, and then Jangling. There we go. Oh, also tourism. The one place I actually, it's over, so I don't want to go anymore. But Beijing had this Genshin Impact event. I'm like, what are we talking about here? Like, they recreated Mondstadt with like, they had like drinks themed after Mondstadt. They had people dressed up as Mondstadt characters and NPCs. I'm like, dude, take my money. Bring it to the US. I will spend so much time in a Genshin Impact theme park. It is insane. And make it after each nation. Like, dude. Like, I know they did it in Beijing for a limited time because Genshin Impact is so huge in China. But man, I'm like, bring it over here, please. Yeah, like, I want a photo op with the Imagine a photo op with the Harbingers, dude. Like, you go up, and I'm like, I'm this nervous little boy. You know, my shoulders shrugged, and I'm standing next to Arlecchino, like, oh, please. I'm such a big fan, father. Like, dude, it'll be awesome. Or I do, like, I dab up a child, you know? That'd be so cool. Yeah. Oh, also, one thing I'll mention, too. I love when I went to MegaCon, I love cosplay, and I love talking to people who also cosplay, because they are some of the most down to earth and nice people you will ever meet, especially when you have that shared interest about like, oh yeah, the work in progress for my costume. Like they are very, very friendly when it comes to that. Which is why maybe I majored in film, is because I get along with artistic crowds and artistic communities, you know? There we go. Give me the resources. Okay. Ooh, okay, good. I got that. Pyro damage bonus. Okay. How about my Geo team? How's Noel doing? Noel, how are you doing? 7. Oh, I got a lot. I got a lot there. That's good. That's very, very good. I'm gonna boost your breastplate, Noel. And I'm gonna make you so strong you could tank even the strongest of boss, like final move boss, like phase 2 boss strikes, you know?
Everybody stand back.
Yeah, stand back.
Out of here. Out of the hole. Overruled.
Oh, you are so cooked. You decided to come and face me, Arlecchino, when I have my fiery abilities. That was a lucky strike.
Witness my rise.
What I would give to live in a like a Genshin Impact, like that time I reincarnated as a Genshin Impact character, like that would be so cool. Which, speaking of like reincarnation and like full dive technology, that SAO game, I may buy it. It's expensive, especially for PC, but I'm like, dude, this is literally my dream to like live in SAO. Now, if they did a full dive, like full on 1-for-1 recreation of the game of Sword Art Online, like, oh my gosh, I would be playing that nonstop. I'd probably be only playing that. It would be game of the century. Like a full dive. Like, I'm not talking like full bodysuit like Ready Player One. I'm talking full dive like the anime, where you lay back and you enter this world, you know? And you can like meet up with people. You can have your own custom avatars.
Everlasting as the moon.
You know, you have to clear these floor bosses. You can form guilds. And people can come after you and kill you. Maybe with the exception of like you die in the game, you die in real life. Like that would be kind of extreme. But like everything else of like just experiencing Sword Art Online in game would be so cool, dude. Like genuinely. I'm not even like bullshitting here. I think it'd be so freaking dope. Yeah, we're just gonna grind. Get as many resources as we can. Wait, 40. Actually, no. I'm not going to do that. Sorry. We're going to escape here. We're going to recover our health. Because I'm like, wait, we could do that again. Or we could use that chance to get Mora. So we have Pyro. So I'm going to switch out with
I'll only
Skirk.
demonstrate this once. Sooner we're done, the
Okay. Yeah, no, but a Sword Art Online like full dive game would go so hard. Also, the amount of war crimes a lot of people would commit would be insane. Would I be... And here's the thing. If they announced that they were building up to that, and they would do a full dive Sword Art Online game, like a proper one, not the one that's coming out, I would be a beater. Like a beta tester. And I'd be like Kirito, where I would go the Black Swordsman route, where I would be like on my own and then form my own group, you know? I think that'd be pretty cool. Like in high school, I like to joke, but I genuinely had like kind of like an emo heavy metal phase in high school. even if it was short-lived because I got more into anime, and one of the animes that I first watched was My Hero Academia. And there's so much hope core in the first two seasons of My Hero Academia. There's so much hope core. Those were the good old days when you saw Midoriya rising up with his fist to absolutely demolish that giant robot to save Uraka for the first time in that test, the entrance exam into UA. Oh my god, dude, that was great. And then you had him fighting Stain with Ida, and they were tag teaming it. Oh, dude. Oh, they were cooking. They were cooking so hard, man. Yeah, those were the days. But yeah, before the Hope Core Seyorias days, it was all straight up just emo, heavy metal, like I am all by myself. But it was almost like, it wasn't like I was depressed or anything. It was more of a, this is the cool factor. I grew out my hair. Like kind of like Anthony from Smosh, if you remember him from the old days where he had like long hair over his eyes. That's what I was trying to do. I was like, I am emo. My hair goes over my ears. And I listen to heavy metal and rock. And I listen to Sword Art Online opening, especially with Kirito in the Rain. I used to listen to, which I still do. Starfield is an amazing song. I love Starfield to death. Or Crossing Field, sorry. Why did I say Starfield? Crossing Field. I know the name of this. It's Crossing Field, guys. But I love that OP so much because it's like, it represents what Sword Art Online is to me and a lot of other people. And I also, here's the one thing about Sword Art Online that's very unique to early anime I watched. I watched Sword Art Online dubbed. And it was great. I loved the voice performances. I loved the screaming, the shouting. And oh my gosh, it was just great. It was a good time all around. Okay, I got 120. Beautiful. Now let's buff Noel's breastplate. Just kidding. I don't have enough. No, I did not mean to do that. I meant to craft. Let's go to Mondstadt to craft more materials. Yeah, by the end, Noelle's literally gonna be that one girl. That one anime with the girl who's like, she maxed out her defense stats, where she'll be able to tank literally anything, dragons included. That's what Noelle's gonna be right now. Nice, I got a bonus. Let's do this. Let's get 10. Give me refunds. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate you. You're great. All right, show me the breastplate. All right, let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Buffed. All right, we can raise this. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Damage absorption, 272%. Defense plus 1,000. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. That's a huge increase. And then constellation-wise, I think I have C2. Yeah, combat mage. That's also why, I mean, that's why Noelle's pretty good too, I guess. I mean, I also did max her out. She's my first Geo character I maxed out, so that's pretty dope too, you know. But let's see how well she does. To tank some foes. What I also will say, so Dea, I'm trying to level up Dea too. But the problem with Dea is, well, one, I didn't max her out, but two, it's these stupid things right here. It's the boss fight challenges. And the problem is that you can't tank a lot of hits. So you definitely need a defensive type character for that. And I don't have them. So one thing I've been trying to do with Genshin Impact is I've been trying to buff a lot of my Geo characters. So now I have Noelle, but I also have Yoonjin,
Show on the road.
who I've also been trying to max out a little bit. But yeah, like look, her main attack right here, Banner, I've been trying to go like crazy with. Cause look at this, damage increase, skill damage. It's pretty good. Cause then I get some Geo damage in, so that's cool. I kind of like her, like the way she summons her attack. It's pretty dope too. Yes, I can see if I could show you all too what I'm trying to do. Hold on. Claim. I have one thing of mail. Nice. All right, let's go back because I want to change my party format so I can show all of you. This is also how I'm testing my my team comp. So I'm trying to do like a Dea squad. But I'm like, okay, I can't really use too many characters because I need to like combo it right with the certain elements. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? And I think I've decided on, where is it? I tried to choose cool ones. I did not Lisa. I know Yoon Jin is a part of it. What else did I put? It was, oh yeah, Shinobu.
This time.
And I want to say if I did Shinobu, what else did I do? Maybe it was you. Who else did I do for my party comp? Huh? No, it was a healer, I think. Yeah, it was a healer. So I think it was her. It was Chi-Chi, I think.
I'm here.
Actually, no, I think it was him.
May knowledge guide you.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. So they're all maxed out too. Perfect timing. So we can go check it out. I'm going to go to the 1,000 Wind Temple to show you what I'm trying to do here.
Time to act.
But check out this combo I'm like forming. It's a strategy I have for Genshin Impact. I'm like, Dea's Fist is like pretty sick. Just the concept of it where it's like a pyro ability, but she just throws out flames while like going like full on boxer mode. It's pretty cool. So I'm like, okay, what if I do this?
Body and mind.
Okay, so I'm gonna attack.
Know my sword. Let me read you.
Ability.
Stand with me. Strike is one and step.
And then now, see? Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Vaporize, electro charge, vaporize, 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 vaporize. And then I can keep attacking and then hit him with this. And then hit him with this. And I'm doing pretty good, see? It's like 2 attacks, but if I keep buffing it, you know, I think I can do pretty well. And what's nice about Shinobu's ability is it recovers health. So that's also why I'm kind of trying to buff Shinobu a little bit. So yeah, I have to level her up to phase 5, so I gotta ascend her. I mean, I guess I could already do that. I can go for the Spectres too, I guess, right now. Yeah, because once I do that, then I can buff her ring, which will do more healing. Like, look at this. This is crazy. 4.2%. And I have C2, so it's even better because it's increased by 3. Yeah, Sanctifying Ring, I think, right? Crest Ring Sanctification. Yeah, see? That's pretty dope. And if I get more, I think I can... I don't know. I want to C6 a lot of characters. See? And then all my health is recovered, which is pretty dope with this team setup. Let's actually go back to Serenity Pot because I need to recover... I need to cash in my rewards I got there.
This realm is
Trust rank. Nice. Realm Depot. Do I need Mora? Do I need Mora? Do I need that right now? Or could I save it? When does it expire? 4 days? What do I need now the most? Maybe Hero's Wit, maybe Mora. Ah, screw it. We can always get Mora. Actually, no. I'll save it. I'll save it.
If you ever
We'll be resourceful. We'll dig in. We'll save. I was gonna say we're gonna save our savings. Like, no duh. That's what savings are. All right, let's see. Dea, recover your health. And let's do this. We want to ascend you, Ascender, and we're gonna drop. There we go. We're gonna go hunting for specters. And actually, what will be nice is if actually I change my party comp. So let's do this.
Let's take a walk.
Let's do switch out for Noelle. And I'm actually gonna bring in Noelle or Lisa.
Here.
Because I feel like Lisa will actually be pretty good. You know what I mean? Especially for the situation.
You're in for a little shock.
There we go. Look at that. Haha. This is really good for helping me with attacks like that. Can I make you fall?
Blitz.
Haha! Get destroyed.
Rain outlines your
See, Lisa can be good. I don't know why people don't play Lisa. It's perfect for these specters, especially because I'm farming for supplies. I don't get that. That's weird. You know what I find really weird? People come in and they say hi and they try to have a conversation with me. But I've gotten so used to this Twitch thing just based on like spending years of experience on this, where I already know it's a scam because they're like, "Oh, can you commission me to do artwork on your channel?" It's like it happens all the time. Like I'm surprised they're like not like fed up with it already. Here, let's do 3 times. There we go. I'm gonna try something. 2, 3. Ooh, that actually did a lot of damage. Forgot what talent? What's my level for my talents for Lisa? All right, number 6, and okay, that's not bad. That's actually pretty good. I could probably do more of this, and then yeah, that'd be insane. Yeah, I can stack damage.
Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock. You've been a naughty boy.
Haha. Goodbye. I can't believe Lisa just took both of them out. That's pretty sick. How much more for you and your abilities to ascend? Oh yeah, we're fine. We're fine, dude. We're fine. I can't believe I became white there. We're fine. Also, is Skirk hot? That's what someone asked. Yes, Skirk is hot. Let's see. No, I'm gonna save that. Yeah, Storm Terror is also one of the easiest bosses to get stuff from, so I would not use it on that. Spectral. Give me a refund. Give me a refund. How much more to ascend you? Shinobu 6. I need 6. I don't want to do all of it because I don't want to waste it. Boom. That should be enough, right? Shinobu? Haha. Yeah, so I just need to do a rune serpent. Need to beat another rune serpent. I guess I can get that ready. Just so I can have it, you know, just to show I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go. You know, ready to roll. Ready to roll out. Like the Autobots. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum. Haha. Also, Naku weeds, they take forever to collect. They're actually kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, rune serpent. Yeah, this need to be a rune serpent, and then we are cooking. Get base, and then I can finally level up your ring, and then we'll be all set. You know what I mean? We'll be all set. Okay, so it seems like I completed everything I wanted to do. At least let's do one more thing though. I kind of want to see Lisa's ability with this team comp, because I think this is actually, like dead ass. This is actually a pretty decent team comp. Just because what is it? Just because Cryo, Electro, and Hydro just work really well together. So we're gonna go to Bright Canyon really quickly. Bright Crown Canyon really quickly because I want to test some things. Mostly gameplay related. But I kind of want to see how much damage Kirk does, especially with Noelle helping out. Yeah, Noelle is a tank. Which is funny because Jean is definitely not like Noelle. I thought Jean would definitely be the tank, but nowhere near Noelle. Okay, let's do this. Now we're gonna try this. Lisa. Oh my gosh, dude! That was kind of crazy. And what's even crazier, it's not even Lisa maxed out with her lightning rose. It's not even. Yeah, I guess I could do Storm Terror later. But I kind of want to complete this and then this. Should I... Okay, chat. Should I actually spend my currency to gain this? Because then I should grind for Lisa, right? But I kind of want to... I mean... This is tough. Maybe I'll grind for Lisa now. I'll do it later. We'll do it later. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to recover her health right now. I'm going to pull up something on stream. Okay, we're recovered. Okay. Let's go. Okay, new thing going on. Whoa, 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 wait. What's happening? Okay, is this what they were talking about?
Heard of the Nod Pride Trade Expo?
Trade Expo?
Are you sure you're allowed to sell stuff like this?
Hey, Fontaine people.
This one might as well be an antique.
Whack defense bots do me proud.
It's one of the Fontaine Research Institute's newest inventions. It's a kind of relay system
Okay,
that allows the
okay.
user
There's
to
more
unleash
mini games.
Numa
That's
and
cool.
inspire energy in battle.
Hold on. If she's that good and she's only the deputy,
I'm gonna lower this a little bit. Whoa, new character.
Clever and cute. I love how she flies around too. Can I pet her?
A new fan favorite for a lot of people.
My name's Linnea. I'm an advisor working
Linnea?
at the Guild.
Linnea?
And I promise you, I am not some sort of weirdo.
Not Linnea